Curtis, thank you so much for having me to your studio today. Your work is so beautiful, and I'm not entirely sure what your influences are, so we'll get to that, but I first want to know when you started thinking of yourself as an artist.
After I retired, about 8 years ago. I mean, I painted off and on, but until I started doing this and people started calling me an artist,
Yeah.
it took a while to that to sink in.
So when you were a kid, were you interested in art at all?
Yeah, well, I'll tell this story because it's my favorite. It's like your first time you paint something. Third grade, they had a contest, and I was a new kid in that school, and everybody else was using crayons, and I went out and bought oil paints, little tiny oil paints at the 5 and dime, and I painted a Viking ship on cardboard. The teacher didn't believe me. She practically called me a liar, 3 times, which at a kid, you go, wow, what's this going on?
Yeah.
I won anyway. But that right then just kind of set the stage.
So you retire 8 years ago. Did you always sort of have a plan to pick up the oils again?
No, I was just sitting around here. I didn't have anything on my walls. There was nothing on the walls. I said, well, I'm just going to, and I wanted to do I just started doing balloons because I thought those were fun,
Yeah,
and I could
yeah.
sell a few. Once you start painting and then you're getting reactions and then it makes you feel more worthwhile,
When you started painting again after retirement, did you have that same feeling you did when you were in 3rd grade?
Oh yeah, I capture it when they're close to done. Not the work, but when you start adding color to these, then it's like, this is completely opposite than my nature. I'm very impatient, so it's a war going on. So when the snowball gets more color starts coming, and then that's when you're back dancing,
Sure.
Yeah.
Tell me about the hard part, about the process. How does it begin? Do you sketch first? Do you just have an idea in your mind?
No, I throw it at it. I use these drawings, and then I tape them. I put them on a board in here, and then I cut them out the cardboard, and then cut them on the tape, and then I take the tape of the picture, like the butterflies
Yeah.
or flowers. I put them on the canvas, and then I take grease and put on that, and then I put another one on top, and then I paint, and as I take them off, I paint one below the other one.
I have never heard of that kind of process. Is that unique to you as far as you know?
I guess I haven't. I saw this once when I first started painting years ago that someone used it like a moon. They make it acrylic and then they paint around it. Well, I just kind of went to an extreme. I thought I'll run things into the ground, and I don't think I'm done yet.
Wow.
I think the most I've done is 3 or 4 layers. I think I could go further, but it would be insane.
Sure. Well, call me when you do that, because an insane artist is,
Yeah.
is my cup of tea. Tell me how you come up with your ideas. Like I said, your inspiration seems, I can look at different pieces and see different...
All the flowers and the butterflies and the bees, out the backyard. I planted sunflowers, and I got like a tropics back there. People love my backyard because I plant all these plants. I bring them inside as much as I can survive. But just seeing that, and it's very simple. What you see, what you paint,
Well, no, I don't know, and here's why. Because I can look at beautiful sunflowers and bees, and I would have no idea how to go about capturing their color and their texture. Was that just innate to you, or
It's
did it
just
take practice?
trial and error. I'm just starting to loosen up. Some of them are very surreal.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing in them some ways. Friends tell me to start loosening up, tightening up. So it's all a process to me. It's like I'm educating myself as I go. I'm self-taught, so everything is new, and I have to learn and relearn because I can't remember.
So is that is frustrating, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Is being self-taught liberating, or is it frustrating for you?
Well, I would think it'd be liberating because I don't know the word no. I've heard some people go to school and they hear no's. That friend of mine I was talking about, and I can't imagine teachers telling creative minds. That's my opinion.
Sure.
Saying no to this, no to that. I say explore it. So I have nothing in my way.
How long, start to finish, does a painting usually take, especially because your process is so unique?
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask. And I'm frustrated because I don't set a timer,
Sure.
but they can go from 80 hours to 120. I don't know because I also stretch my canvases.
Okay.
I make them, I stretch them, I make my frames now. I do it from very beginning. And that process is also part of the process. I'm finding out different bases using gesso or ground, things like this. I didn't know, so I just stumble across it.
Yeah.
And then I try it out. And then it works well. And then I sand and try to find the texture that I want to put a paint on it, whether with the brush. So it's all education to me, but it's right up here, how the paint moves on the canvas.
Do you ever just feel like you have failed? Like you're trying to learn, you're
yeah.
trying to work your way through and you go, well, that didn't work.
Oh yeah, there's failure and joy. It goes back and forth with me. I don't stay the same, but I know I have to finish. And the battle goes on. And then once you finish, even then I go, I don't like it. But then 2 days later, or a day later, whatever that might be, then you're satisfied,
Wow. I see a lot of musical influences. We see trumpets and music notes, and where is that coming from?
I played in band in school.
Okay.
And the brass, to me, it's the most in-depth. It's like a mirror. You could go crazy painting brass, metal, because you could keep getting farther in detail. It would drive you insane, and I would like to go insane.
I love that. Do you think that you get better with each painting?
I think they're getting better. That's for someone else to figure out. I can't. I look at the old ones and I like those, but the new they're just changing. I think I'm getting better on, like I told you, like trying to loosen up instead of staying as tight as I am. So it's like taking ownership of the canvas. It's just hard for me to. I find myself catching myself doing that. I find I'm taking ownership of this, and that's a kind of a revelation. I think that's when you start getting better.
Do you look at all of your work and have a critical eye, even if you like it? Are you critical of it, or are you in love with some of them?
Oh, it's definitely critical. You stay in here, and you're working on it, and it's not good enough. It's not good enough. Then you got to just get away and let it go, and it is good enough. It's just a matter of how much time how much life you want to spend in that moment.
Right,
you have to move on. But yeah.
Tell me what the biggest challenge is when it comes to your pieces.
Price.
Oh, okay. That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Oh, it's selling them. My kids laughed at me when I first started this. They said, "You act like they're your children," And I just can't see other artists how they do it. I would rather someone just come in here and put a price on them, get them out. I just rather just paint. But that's the hardest thing for me, is to let them go. Or just sell them.
Sure.
I said, I got space. It's not like I'm making a living like some people do. And
Right.
I could appreciate their life, but I got places I can put them in here. Sure. I finally come to that conclusion, I don't have to. But it was a war all the time.
Now, since you took up painting really seriously after retirement, does it make you wish that you had started really seriously sooner?
Oh yeah, well that teacher, instead of criticizing me and not believing me, maybe there's kids out there, I know there are, that someone could recognize that, instead of saying no or not believe. Maybe they could have found that. Maybe it could have been something else. Those are could-have-bees, but I'll do what I can. That's what inspires me to do what I can now on the time that I have left.
Right.
So you can't say it's a bad thing, bad and good, it's irrelevant. You just use that to facilitate now, But yes, I think it could have been different, but you don't know where I came from, so it wouldn't have happened. Maybe. Oh, the maybes.
But regardless, you are glad that you picked it up and really dove in.
Yeah.
What has painting taught you about yourself?
I guess it's worth, just your own self-worth, and it is something that people say they can't do, but it's, you can do. So I guess it's just self-worth.
What brings you the most joy when it comes to your work?
People's faces, just when someone first sees my work. That's that moment when the expression that it's instantaneous. The smile, the glint in the eye, I call it food for an artist.
Yeah, I
That
had
moment
never
of
thought of that.
recognition that someone sees it and smiles.
Yeah, I can't imagine looking at your work and not enjoying it. It is just joyful.
Well, thank you.
So thank you for sitting down with me today, and best of luck in all future endeavors.
Well, they will be what they will be.
Arts in Focus on PBS Fort Wayne is funded in part by the Our Foundation and the Community Foundation of Greater Fort Wayne.